Promised, on the phone we have Derek Moody, the Reverend from the Church of Rock, who's been doing that show for 23 years? Is that correct?
23 years this coming Sunday, my brother.
Wow, you really keep track.
Yeah, it's a big deal for us. I can't believe we've done something so long and so consistent. I'm pretty proud of that fact, and even more proud that we're on KSKQ.
Well, it's... Yeah, I was involved, before you came around, and when you got started, I was so happy that, what you were bringing to the air. And then I learned a little bit more about you, and I found out that not only did you bring a lot of good programming to the air, you brought a ton of positive energy to the station and to the community. And I remember... It was a couple of years ago when we were doing the Waterfront Blues Festival during 4th of July, and everywhere I went, I would say, "Hey, man, KSKQ is doing the coolest thing, man. We're doing a broadcast of the Waterfront Blues Festival. It's live." And I'm like, KSKQ, I'm like, "Oh yeah, bloody." Now this happened 4 times consecutively, 4 times in a row with an hour of me running errands. Everybody knew who you were and loved you. So I don't know if I ever had a chance to tell you that, but I was like, man, I love it. All right, so we got a lot to talk about. You must have been incredibly busy getting this tribute album out, and I read the liner notes and all the information that you provided on the CD inside. I've got the CD in the player right now, but really I think it'd be best if we just let you, just take it from here. Tell me.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I appreciate you giving me the time and, helping me get the word out about this. It's a limited edition CD that we put together through Fanatic Records, a small mom and pop sort of charity record label that I formed in the late 90s. And basically what we're doing is putting out this album, and once we retrieve our investment, we're giving all profits to a group called SEVA, which provides eyesight to folks in countries that have massive cataract problems in little villages. They've given eyesight to just millions of people since the 70s and 80s. And it's a very legit charity that's very transparent, and it's not any religious thing like that. It's just giving eyesight. The bottom line is a guy named Pat McGlynn is a very famous Europe and Japanese and, USA rocker that got a lot of fame in a band called the Bay City Rollers in the 70s, and they were one of the only bands that sold more records than pretty much anyone except the Beatles. Until very recently, that was Beat, I think. But Pat McGlynn did a lot of solo material in other countries, double platinum selling artist. I'm a big fan. I'm also, I happen to be his friend and became his manager even. But I did this tribute.
How did you, isn't he over in Scotland or?
He's over in Edinburgh, Scotland, and one day, I'd been hearing it for months. Derek, you and Pat are tight, and you and Pat are friends. You should be sort of managing him. He needs someone he can trust. And so one day I said to Pat, everyone keeps saying that I should be your manager. And he goes, Derek, I thought you already were.
How did you guys meet?
We met through, it's a crazy story, Carson. I was a fan. When I was 10 years old, there was a Bay City Rollers poster on my bedroom wall. It was my favorite rock band up there with Kiss, the Beatles, and ABBA. And I loved the Rollers. And there was a picture with Pat right there. And then that was when I was 10 in 1975. And then all these years later, the Alameda fires happened in Oregon. 90% of my life stuff was burned, like all my stuff, all my pop culture items.
Oh, man.
And worst of all, in my pop culture world, my Bay City Rollers collection of autographs, music, stuff from the concert.
Irreplaceable.
Yeah. So what I did was, one of the ways that I healed from that, instead of being just depressed, was I'm going to reach out in the roller world and try to find some cool autograph stuff for my collection. And while I'm at it, I'm going to see what these guys are doing and maybe doing a series of interviews with them on the radio. And so that would set me on a mission.
Okay.
And, I started reaching out to Bay City Rollers fan groups online on Facebook. There was 30 of them, still is. And I said, I'm looking to meet, I started naming names like Nobby Clark and different guys that were in the band, Les McEwen. And then I said Pat McGlynn, and I had a response immediately from one of Pat's friends. my friend Linda Tufty Winship in Yorkshire, England. She reached out and she said, I can ask Pat about getting him your email address. So very quickly she did, and it blossomed from there.
That is, I love that. You just put it out there. You put it out there, and it came back to you, man. That's cool. So now, and so you and Pat became tight, and now you're manager. And thank goodness for technology that you guys can actually be able to communicate to get things done. And you mentioned the Almeida Fighters, how you lost everything. Did that have something to do with the creation of Skies Are Blue, a tribute to Pat McGlynn? It's a compilation album.
Well, it did. Inadvertently, a tragedy ended up doing something nice. So all the profits are going to Seva, which is something that's being of service to other people to end their suffering. So I guess I took my pain and unconsciously sort of wrapped it up in this artistic endeavor. And, I never really thought about it in that broad of a scope, Carson, but I think you're right. I think you hit it on the head. I think I took that pain, and instead of going to a shrink, I just went to the music bin and put out a record, and it helped me through it, It must have taken a lot of work to coordinate this. There's 12 tracks. Each track, and I'll also note that the style of the music for each song is it's diverse. It all goes together well in a nice package. It's all meant to go together, but there's a lot of different musicians here. Do you want to talk about where these musicians came from and how you got them? Like, what did that take? Well, it took a bit of work, and I will say it was a team effort. There was a lot of great people on my team, or on the team, or on Team Pat, I should say. But he's got a lot of very loyal friends. He never calls them fans. He calls them his friends. He's very, very approachable. He can, he's not trying to hide out. But he's the kind of guy that was very, very grateful, and he couldn't believe it when we said we were doing a tribute. So we put the word out on all the social media and say, hey, if you want to be a part of this, you love Pat, you do music, let us know. And we heard from all kinds of people. We have members of the Black Crowes on this record. We've got former members of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. We've got former people that have played with ex-Bay City Rollers. We have mom and pop rockers like myself that, never really made a big splash internationally, but did, made a little dent. And we've got bands like, I'm looking at it now, Callum McElroy from England. He did a brilliant job. Also, of course, Michael Garrett in Illinois. He did a fantastic job. A band called the Sadistic Cowboys, a total rock roll band. They did a cool tune. They did a cover of a track that was originally done by Wanda Jackson called Let's Have a Party. And then, of course, we have Live to Love from Southern California. They did this cover of the Bay City Rollers' Sweet Virginia. Goggs, a brilliant musician in Scotland, contributed several tracks, as did Ian McKenna from Offbeat Studios in Scotland. And I'm just very blessed to have had all these people willing to donate and be a part of it, because all the songs are really fun and great.
Did you have to, not everyone made the cut, right? You had to make some hard decisions, it seems like.
Well, not really. We went from the idea of doing just an EP, a tribute EP of 6 songs.
Okay.
Then it was like 10 songs, and then it was 11, and then it was 12. I'm like, wow, I've got a full-length album on my hands. So it was kind of the opposite. We had more people at deadline still wanting to be on the thing. So I was telling Pat, we can look forward to part 2 maybe.
Well, it's a pretty solid album, in my opinion. I've been listening to it all week in my car as I'm running around town getting things done. And, of course, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but you did mention that Pat McGlynn is also on this album, right?
The thing about Pat is he hasn't done any new music except for maybe some of the stuff on SoundCloud in the last 10 years. Uh-huh. Him and his lovely wife, Janine Andrews, have done some beautiful music, but not really much rock and roll coming out for a while. Pat is into property development business, and he's really into that, and he's very successful at it. But, we got him out to do some music with us, and we re-recorded a song that I wrote back in 92 with a buddy of mine, and it's called Empty. And it's really fun. And Pat's on there with myself and a guy named Goggs, Gordon Anthony from Edinburgh, Scotland. We utilized technology and sent the tracks back and forth via email. and it came out really, really awesome. And also we have a tune by Pat called "I Want to Be in Your Cult."
I like
which
that
is
one.
Really beautiful.
Well,
that's the one most people like.
Well, it's definitely a standout. Okay. With albums, and I'm sure you're the same way, because I know that you're a music lover and you're a lover of albums, of the album format. I know that because I know how old you are, but you know how it goes. It's like you get that standout track that you just like, oh, that's the one. But then after several repetitive listenings, going through the album again, eventually there's another track that kind of comes to the surface that actually becomes your favorite. But who's to say on a compilation album? I mean, like I said, like all of these musicians they're all very good, some great voices, different styles. So it is diverse.
Yeah,
but yeah, I really like that song. I Want to Be in Your Cult. You know what else I like, Derek? I like the Tonight I Pray. And
thank you.
okay, now I just have to say this because I feel attached because literally I am attached to your partner in one way, Sister Tracy, who also is a co-host on the Church of Rock. She is now the alternate host of Latitude 42, and when I saw that you guys did a track together, I couldn't wait to hear it, and it sounds great. You guys sound great together. I'm so proud to know both of you. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. That means so much to me because that song was recorded locally with Mark Thomas Johnson at Blue Jay Productions over in Jacksonville, and it features David Valley on guitar and bass, and Ariana Saringer on keyboards and piano. They're all local people. And, Sister Tracy was really adamant, or not adamant, the opposite. She was not
hesitant,
happy about driving her into the recording studio to do the song, but I thought she did a fine job, and I really appreciate that compliment, Carson.
Well, it's a sincere compliment. I was thrilled when I heard it. It's like, yeah, and and I don't know Tracy very well. I mean, I wish I knew her better. The way that we're doing this, with her doing as the alternate co-host, we don't have that opportunity to really hang or whatever. So I don't know. I was like, I don't want to say surprised or pleasantly surprised. I was just impressed. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know Tracy did that. That's cool. I've seen your band before, and you're outgoing. You're an outgoing radio host. You're an outgoing frontman for a band. Tracy's a little more reserved, compared to you anyway. And so
a lot more chill.
But I was just so pleased to find that out about her, and so very proud to know that I'm associated with her in the way that we share this radio show. All right, let's get back to go ahead.
Just a real quick little FYI, and I'm sure Tracy's going to flinch, but back in the day, she actually fronted her own punk band and did a few gigs and was really awesome as a front person. And I wish she would have kept going, but that's just another story. But yeah, she's really surprising.
We're gonna have to drag some more stories out of Sister Tracy. There's a lot of layers to this person that I'm not aware of yet. I know I can just tell she's a multifaceted person. So I think that you're a lucky person to have her as a partner.
I'm very, very blessed.
Well, so glad to know that she was involved with this. And again, the album is called, or should I say CD? I mean, it's an album, right? On CD.
It is.
Skies Are Blue. And indeed they are on the good days. What's the significance of the title? Did you come up with that? Did Pat come up with that? Is that a group think?
You know what? Pat's got a pure heart of gold, and a lot of times he'll say very positive things and very happy little things to make you happy as a friend. And a lot of times he'll say, "Skies are blue, Derek," when he says goodbye or something. And I always thought that was just so innocent and lovely, and I just love it. Skies are blue. It just makes you happy, and it's a little positive way of saying, catch you later, and remember, everything's great. Skies are blue.
I like it. Yeah, I might even incorporate that into my greetings.
The lingo.
It's a nice one, man. I know it's good. It's a good one.
Pat comes up with some good ones, believe me, and some of them I can't say on the air.
Yeah, well, that's fine. We leave some stuff to our imagination. So what else do you want us to know about this album? I mean, you mentioned that the money goes to the Seva Foundation, which helps restore eyesight for people, and that's really, I mean, I can't imagine if I couldn't. What life would be like not knowing that skies are blue or what blue looked like. You know what I mean? So
Carson, that group was started by a lot of great people, including the famous Wavy Gravy, who was one of the announcers at Woodstock. He's like a saint. And he said, because of Seva, there's a heck of a lot of people in the world not bumping into stuff.
Yeah, so it's a funny guy.
Bro. I told Pat, because of your rock and roll, and this tribute, there's a lot of people walking around not bumping into stuff, and he just thought that was great.
So there was how long did it take? How long did it take to get all of this coordinated? From the inception to because I know this just happened. Like it was just like 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago that you actually got the physical copies of the CDs in your hand, right?
And you know what? We only have about 100 left, maybe if that. I started out with this thing about 6 months or 8 months ago with the idea, and then we just started going full force, like, let's get this done. And, I had to raise some funds, get the bands, record my own songs. It was a lot of work, and I know that all the bands put time and money and love into each and every song, so I want to thank them all. They're available pretty much just through me. I decided why go through stores when I'm selling them quite fine the way I am, so... you can just reach me through the internet or through Fanatic Records on Facebook and just reach out. We're doing it by donation. There's no set amount, just the actual postage of wherever you live. And then we're asking $6 and above, please, for donations to cover costs at least. This way, the music is the bottom line and it's not being held over heads. Anyone of any economical status could afford it, hopefully. And that way, and the folks that have more than enough funds sometimes and quite often donate way more than I expect. So it's a beautiful balance. Everyone gets the music, and in the end, there's a lot less people bumping into stuff.
So, Derek, what happens when you no longer have any physical copies and people are continuing to ask for them? Are you going to reprint?
Good question.
Is this available digitally? Like,
It's really not. It's not available digitally. I didn't want to get into a bunch of platforms where I'm going to be making any income because Pat's been through the ringer. He's had. Don't get me wrong. He's had silver platters and lived first class for many years. But he also had, like most rock and rollers, many experiences of being burned, ripped off, lied to, cheated, and exploited. And I swore to him, when I became his friend and manager, I'll never tell you a lie. I'll never betray you. I'll never take a penny from you. If there's any money coming in, it goes to you, and then you pay me. I just won't do it. So I've decided to keep it extremely pure, and that's just the route I've decided to go. You know what I mean?
Okay. No, I respect that. I'll have to be honest with you though, Derek. I'm concerned about people that might want to get this music and it won't be available to them. I mean, I'm definitely I'm clutching this now, knowing that this might be one of the only, one of 300 in existence that may not even happen again. I mean, much.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
So
much
Church
work.
Of Rock radio shows. Well, the Church of Rock does have a YouTube channel, so as soon as these sell out, we are going to post the entire album. I've already gotten permission from all of the bands, and God bless them all, but they all said cool, so we're going to put the entire album on YouTube, and all you have to do at that point is go to YouTube, and it'll all be right there to hear.
Okay, now I feel a little more settled. You can understand. Right? You can understand where my concern was coming from when you were telling me this information. Like, you got 300 of them, I got 200 of them left, and that's it. Like, what?
If I could find a way to give it away digitally down the road, I will. But I think YouTube will be the avenue for now, even though it is monetized. It's pennies. We don't make really anything off of it.
Sure.
We have 1,600 subscribers,
Yeah. Well, and keep an open mind. After you're out of these albums, and if people are continuing to ask if you for all you might just be, this might just be like the I don't know, when you roll a snowball down a hill.
Yeah.
And the momentum, you might just be pushing that snowball that is first pushed down the hill with these first 300.
It's funny you mentioned that. I did receive an email yesterday or the day before from Discogs, the company that did these for me.
Yeah.
And they said, "Hey, by the way, if you need more of these in increments of 100, let us know." So I think they're used to people saying, "I might need more." So if it really happened and demand was that heavy, I would probably talk to Pat and say, "Hey, what do you think? Could we do another 100?" And just do the same charitable way of doing it.
Okay. Well, listen. Yeah, it's nice to know that there's like a path, a possible path in the future for people to get this album. Skies Are Blue. It's a tribute to Pat McGlynn. Pat McGlynn was in the Bay City Rollers, and I did not know that, Derek. I did not know that they sold more records than anybody except for the Beatles. I just didn't know that until you told me, and but it's a fact.
It's been changed in the last couple of years. There's some different numbers. I know the Eagles are tied with the Rollers at 120 million albums, but there's been some recent artists that have surpassed it, I do believe. But up until the last couple of years, from the 70s, that's a long track record, and they did sell quite a few records. And then Pat, as a solo artist, he put out tons of albums, which I own, and a lot of them did go like double platinum in other countries, but were never released in the States as a solo artist, which is a travesty because he's known everywhere but here as a solo artist.
Well, this has all been very interesting to me personally, and if anyone's just tuning in, I'm talking with Reverend DJ Moody, Derek, Bloody, he's Buddy, Buddy, it depends on, who you're talking to and how they know you. But not only did you, coordinate, I should say, this great tribute album with 12 tracks with different combinations of artists to distribute to Pat McGlynn that goes out to the Save a Foundation, all the money that you make from that. You also host a show here on KSKQ Sunday nights, 7:00, Church of Rock. So people know how to find you now if they're listening, and I hope they do. So here's my plan. Before I head out of here, because we're running out of time, I want to get two songs from the album in. I want to get the Pat McGlynn song in. I want to Be in Your Cult, and then I'm going to follow that out with track 11, Reverend Derek Moody and Sister Tracy with Tonight I Pray.
Thank you so much, man. It's so nice of you.
Well, just turn it up. Just turn up your radio and enjoy.
Yeah, thanks a million. I appreciate the time today, Carson. I love your show, and I love you, bro.
Hey, anytime, man. Mutual admiration for you, my friend. Thanks for making the time to call in today. All right.
Rock on. Thank you so much. In gratitude.
All right.